Welcome back to a new video on F# and inheritance. We finished off the last video with the following example. So we created two classes, one base class and one derived class, where the derived class inherits from the base class, but then also defines a second parameter. What I want to introduce now is the concept of an abstract member in the base class. And what this will allow us to do is create a blueprint that we can then implement in the derived class as well. And we can also implement it in the base class. So in order to define this, let's do the following. So I'm going to define an abstract member. And this is going to be a function in this case. So I'm going to name it myFun like this. What we're going to give next is the signature of this function. And this is going to take two integers like this, and then also return an integer. So the signature will be int to int to int, like that. Now, we've defined this abstract member, but in order for this to be a standard class, we need to provide an implementation for this abstract member as well. And the way we're going to do that is with the default keyword. So default tells us what the default value is in the base class of this abstract member. And we need to specify what we want to provide the default value for, and that's going to be my function, like that. And what we will say is this is going to take two input parameters. These will be integers, as we've seen in the signature up here. And then what we're going to return is the product of these. So x times y, like that. This provides an implementation for the myFun function, and it stops the error that we had before. Okay, so if I now create two instances here. So we're going to create let base class be an instantiation of this base class. We're going to give it parameter 1, and then we're going to say let derived class be an instance of our derived class, like that. And for this one, we're going to provide 1 and 2 as parameters, like that. And I just want to print now, print fn. And I want to say that in the base class, we're going to see what the function printout is. So base class, like that. And in this base class, we should have my function available, like so. And we would provide two parameters, 3 and 4. Now, I'm going to do the exact same thing again, but I'm going to do it for the derived class. Derived, like that. And then derived class function 3, 4. Okay. Let's execute this and see what we get. Now, what we would expect is that for the base class, I think it's clear, we use the default value of, or default implementation of the function, which multiplies the two values. So I would expect us to see 12 as the result because we're going to multiply 3 and 4. Now, for the derived class as well, we inherit from the base class. So we call the constructor of the base class here, which would initialize these parameters. So I would also expect the output here to be 12. And if we look at what we just got down here, we can see that it's 12 for both of those. Now, what we can do, if we want, is when we have these abstract members like this, we can actually override them in the base class. So I can provide the keyword override here, like that. And then I would need to specify what I want to override, in this case, my function. And I would say that rather than a multiplication x times y like we had before, I just want to sum these two. So I do that. And if I execute this, I will now have a new implementation of the my function in the derived class. Now, this will only change the implementation in the derived class itself. It's not going to override the value in the base class, so to speak. It overrides what value we inherit in the base class. So we can see in the output here now that the base evaluation here of applying the function to 3 and 4 still gives 12 because it multiplies them. But in the derived class, we can see that this override that we did results in a value of 7 when we apply this. And that's because we sum these values rather than multiply them. So that's how you override inherited methods in F#.